So let me get this right. You're saying you've lived behind my shed all this time without me knowing? Yes, that's right. Just over here behind the trampoline. Oh, this is really wet. So just round here? Yep, that's it. Home sweet home. Yeah, it's lovely. So, how did you get here again? Let me tell you all about it.
Behind a studio shed in the Midlands town, amphibian, who knows how to get down? I span the genres, yeah, I've got soul. Been singing songs since I was a tadpole, swimming in my pond on a fine spring day, minding my own business on my merry way. I couldn't have known how bad things would get when I stupidly swam into a net. Here's a musical toad, musical toad, yeah. Oh, yeah. Listen now. I was callously dropped in a glass jam jar, swimming in circles, carried oh so far, not knowing who to blame, who I should thank. Well, next thing I knew, I was in a tank, and in that tank of sadness and sighs, I began to change, to metamorphosize. I had to break free, felt like I'd explode, cause now I was the size of a full-grown toad. Here's a musical toad, musical toad, yeah. Oh, yeah. So I swam and I jumped as much as I was able, till I rocked that aquarium to the edge of the table. It teetered on the edge, then quick as a flash, it fell to the floor with a deafening crash. Not turning to look back at the mess inside, I hopped away to find somewhere to hide. Behind a shed, in a garden, found a place to lay, and that's where I've lived, right to this day. Right to this day. Musical toad, yeah, musical toad. Right to this day. Musical toad, I said a musical toad. Music vocabulary of dynamics. So last week we talked all about tempo, which was, Kevin? Fast like a cheetah and slow like a tortoise. Yes, that's right. We also mentioned a couple of other words though. We talked about timbre, which was the type of sound or instrument. And we also mentioned pitch, which is high, middle, low. That's right. This week we're going to focus on new vocabulary, and that word is dynamics, which means loud, quiet. Yeah, it's not very often that you're silent though, is it, Kevin? How rude. I like that poster, Mr. S. It's really helpful so I don't forget the elements of music. Where can I get one from? Oh, thanks, Kevin. I'll show you how. You can look on my website. Two ways that you can get to my website. You could either go to Google, type in the box the word musical toad, and then press return. And then on this list, click on that one. Or by going up to the address box at the top and typing www.musicaltoad.co.uk. And then on this page you click down at the bottom where it says click to download PDF poster. And then if you're lucky enough at home to have a printer, you could print one out and put it on your bedroom wall. That's great. Only one problem though. I don't have a bedroom. Timbre of the week.
I love the sound of brass instruments like these trumpets, trombones, and of course, horns.
Me too.
Now, this music is called Horn Concerto No. 4 by Mozart.
Do you think it might be twice as good as his Concerto No. 2?
I don't know, but I do think we should probably find out how brass instruments work.
Oh. Yeah, so do I. Brass instruments like this trumpet make sounds when the air inside them is made to vibrate. Vibrating air molecules bump into the molecules next to them, which makes them vibrate too. This creates a sound wave which travels through the instrument and comes out of this part, which is called the bell. When a sound wave reaches our ears, we hear the sound.
We can imagine what those sound waves look like using this spring. So, Greg, catch one end. Nice. And if we imagine that the brass instrument is at this end, then as that sets the air vibrating, it starts off the sound wave like this.
Oh, yes. Wicked. Look at that.
Good, isn't it? And you can see the vibration travelling all the way along the spring. Chuck it back.
But how do you get the air in the brass instrument to vibrate? It's not as simple as just blowing into it. It's time. Still can't do it. When you play a brass instrument properly, this is what your lips look like. In super slow-mo, you can see that your lips have to vibrate, which means they're moving backwards and forwards really quickly. Believe it or not, a player's lips can vibrate over 1,000 times a second. It's the player's lips vibrating against the mouthpiece that makes the air in the trumpet vibrate, and this creates the sound waves.
But these sound waves don't come directly out of the bell. Instead, they're bounced backwards and forwards, creating what we call a standing wave. Let me show you. Right, we've got a rope here, and Greg, can you... That end, brilliant, hold it. Now, what's going to happen is Greg is going to wiggle his end of the rope. It's going to bounce off me, and we should create a standing wave. So go on, start your wiggling. Go on, go on, go on. And there we have it. That is a standing wave, and it's known as a standing wave because the wave doesn't look to be moving, even though we are wiggling the rope.
Can I stop yet?
Yes, you can.
Thanks. So, what happens is the air inside the instrument is vibrating. That then sets the air outside the instrument vibrating, and the vibrations then move through the air until they reach our ears.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, loud.
And it is loud because how loud something is, its volume, depends on the size of the vibrations that make up the sound waves. So if I blow hard with more energy, I make bigger vibrations.
No.
And that produces a louder sound. If I can make my lips vibrate more gently, I make smaller vibrations with less energy. So the sound is softer, like this.
Yeah, I prefer that.
Thought you might.
The earliest brass instruments weren't in fact made from brass at all. They were made from shells and animal horns, which is how some of them got their name, horns.
Makes sense. Now, modern brass instruments, like this French horn, look a little bit different. Now, one thing you might not have noticed at first glance is they are just really long tubes. They're just curled up really tightly to make them easier to hold and to play.
Now, if we were to unwind all the tubing in the French horn, you'd find that it's a whopping 5 metres long.
A sound is coming out, but the thing is, a major problem is that it's very difficult to play lots of different notes.
What sort of note comes out of your brass instrument depends how much air inside the instrument is vibrating. When lots of air vibrates, it tends to vibrate more slowly, making a lower note. Less air vibrates faster, and we hear a higher pitched note.
Now, to prove this, I've put 3 metal tubes inside these 3 bottles of coloured water. In this bottle, there's a lot of water. In this one, not so much. And in this one, even less. This means there's more air in this tube, less air in this one, and even less in this third one. So if I blow across the tube with the most air in it, this one, I should make the low note. But if I blow across the tube with the least air in it, this one, I should get a higher note. Should. And if I blow across the middle tube, I should get a note that's somewhere between the two.
Out of air that's vibrating in your instrument. There are several ways to do that on brass instruments.
Now, one way is to use something called a slide, and this is how a trombone works. If I stretch the slide out as far as I can, it makes the tube of air longer, and that means a lower pitched note. But if I pull it back as far as it will go, then the tube of air gets shorter, which gives a higher pitched note. See?
Lovely, yes.
Now, different positions on the slide make different lengths of air, which make lots of different notes.
Okay, I get it. Another way of changing the amount of air that's vibrating is to use something called a valve. On an instrument like the trumpet, the player can press 3 valves. This is how you play the note C. And to make a higher note like D, you do this. Pressing the valves means there's less air vibrating, and that makes the note higher.
Brilliant! Another brass instrument is called a bugle, and it has no valves at all. And you can make one from some ordinary plastic piping. So while I finish this off, Greg, what else have you found out about brass instruments?
Well, they're not all made of brass. The shofar is a Jewish instrument made from the horn of a sheep. It dates back thousands of years and is still used in synagogues all over the world. How's your bugle getting on, Fran?
I'm almost there, and this is what you do. You take a length of really clean hosepipe, about 1 metre long, and you've got to wind it round twice, like this. And I've used sticky tape just to hold it in place and stop it from unwinding. Then again, we use a clean hosepipe connector, and we attach that onto one end, and this is going to be the mouthpiece of our bugle. And you just screw that into place like that.
Gotcha.
And at the other end, you use a funnel, and that is the bell.
Easy.
Yep, and then you're all done. It's a bugle.
That's surprisingly good.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I've built you one so we can take our place in the orchestra and jam along with Mozart's Horn Concerto No. 4.
I'd love to.
One, two, three, four. Steve, the tortoise. Steve likes to eat curly kale. Yeah.
Today's song is called Little Green Frog. Whoa, whoa, whoa! I never knew we'd be singing about frogs. I'm not happy about this. Frogs and toads do not get on.
Perhaps if you learnt a little bit more about them, you might change your mind. Let's watch this little video and see how you feel afterwards.
I'll be speaking to my agent about this.
Now let's meet some frogs. These interesting animals can live part of their lives in water and part on land, which makes them amphibians. This word means double life. When in the water, frogs can breathe through their skin. When on land, they use their lungs. Can you believe there are about 4,000 types of frogs? They come in a lot of colors and patterns too. And they're found all over the world, but most live in the tropical rainforest. Brightly colored frogs are sometimes called the jewels of the rainforest. They come in just about every color combination you can think of. Yellow and black, red and black, even bright blue. These colors warn other animals to stay away. Hey, don't eat me, I'm poisonous.
Some frogs have colors or markings that make them hard to find. This is called camouflage. This is our mossy tree frog. He's green and black to blend into his environment. He lives on the rock walls of caves and on the green moss of trees. So he has the bumpy skin, as you can see, and this also helps to blend into the cave walls. If you were a bird looking for lunch, how many mossy tree frogs could you find? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 mossy frogs.
Went the little green frog one day
went the little green frog. Went the little green frog one day, and the frog went But we know frogs go tra-la-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la. We know frogs go tra-la-la-la-la. They don't go Went the little green frog one day. Went the little green frog. Went the little green frog one day, and the frog went But we know frogs go tra-la-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la. We know frogs go tra-la-la-la-la. They don't go So Kevin, this week we've learnt a new vocabulary word, which was dynamics, loud, quiet and silent. And we've been practicing using those other vocabulary words from last week, timbre, which is the type of sound or the instrument, tempo, fast like a cheetah, slow like a tortoise, like Steve, and we've also been looking at pitch, which is high, middle and low notes. But that's all the time we've got. What do you think you've learned most this week?
I've learnt that some frogs are okay.
Well, that's something. See you next week, guys.
Bye!
It's a musical time. Yeah, musical time. Yeah, musical time. I said a musical time.